The Raiders, yeah.
The Raiders.
They're 2-0 now under new interim coach Rich Bisaccia. I'm really I kind of like saying his name. He's got a cool sounding name.
Bisaccia.
It seems like there's a better kind of vibe with the team. Just kind of talking to you now, I'm kind of blanking who they just beat on Sunday. But
Ooh,
they I
you know
know
what? I'm
they won
blanking
their
too, man.
second game in a row, and they did it in Eagles. They beat the Eagles, so
Oh
not
yeah,
necessarily a fearsome opponent, but that's what you want to do. You want to beat the brakes off the teams that aren't good. Eagles aren't good right now. It took them a while to get there into the second half. That game was still competitive, but we talked about the Raiders, how they always seem to fall apart. Say after week 9 or so,
yep,
they're 5-2. I believe they were 6-2 last year. They
they
ended up
were.
finishing 8-8. So they just need to have a decent kind of second half of their season, and they should be able to um, be in the playoffs. They might even be able to win that division. I believe they're tied right now at 5-2 with the Chargers, and they also have a head-to-head loss against the Chargers. So um, they've got it all in front of them. They've just got to finish strong.
Yeah, they also do play the Chargers again to end the year, and the Chiefs twice still, and they play the Broncos as well. So this division is still really up for grabs, but only time will tell. But speaking of getting the brakes beat off of them, I should say, the Baltimore Ravens took that ass whooping on Sunday from the Cincinnati Bengals, which you had the Cincinnati Bengals, spoiler alert, in the top 10. So the Ravens
Yeah,
do come in at 9. So are the Ravens still worthy of a top 10 pick after getting beat 41-17 on Sunday?
it's a good question, and I think you could, maybe put that out there and maybe have them a couple of spots lower, perhaps. This was the most surprising result, I think, of the day on Sunday. It was a pretty close game into the third quarter. Jamar Chase went crazy, had that spinorama
Oh, that
long
was a great
touchdown
play.
there. Joe Burrow, is looking fantastic, like a franchise savior. Over 400 yards passing, I should say. He threw a bit of a gnarly interception in the end zone, but he was able to come back from that. And the defense is really showing a pass rush. They have already more sacks than they did last year. Um, they look like they're a legitimate team to beware of in the AFC, and I definitely didn't see that coming. I still thought they would be better, but still be the worst team in that division, and they're looking like they could maybe be the best team. So great job by them.
Yeah, so
At number
let
nine,
me go
let's
ahead
see who you got
and
coming.
or sorry, number 9 was the Ravens. Number
Yeah,
8 you have the Buffalo Bills. Your Buffalo Bills, I might add. So
yeah.
there's no favoritism here. Why do you got the Bills so low?
Well, I mean, I had them at 8 last week after that tough loss in Tennessee. So I kind of kept them where they were. I don't really like to move teams too much on their bye week. I think I try to keep that unless there's a bunch of teams around them that are losing or winning. Sometimes they might drop or fall. Or rise a little bit. I really like this team still. Have they played a lot of good teams? No, they haven't. Did they kind of shit their pants against the Titans? Yeah, they kind of did, and that was a bit of a questionable fourth down gamble there by Sean McDermott and the coaching staff. Josh Allen wasn't able to find steady footing on the QB sneak, and they had no chance. Simmons blew up Dawkins on the block and came crashing through the line. So I think Sean McDermott is trying to build a culture where he trusts his players and he wants to put the ball in his playmakers' hands. 9 times out of 10, they probably get that first down and go on to win the ball game, but they didn't this time. They're still 5-2. They've had a solid almost first half of this season. They're playing the Dolphins, who they've owned over the last couple of years. I think this is a good get right game after kind of being able to rest up over the last week or so.
And didn't they beat them like 40-0 like 2 weeks ago, go 2 or something like that? Or it was
I'm trying to remember. I think they beat Houston 40-0, and then it was like 35-0. I think they beat Miami. So they've already pitched a couple of shutouts,
yeah.
and I think I pulled this out the week after, but it was like their biggest win over Miami since 1966, and they've been playing each other, those two teams, for over 56 years or
Yeah,
whatever. So
that's absolutely mind blowing, right there, just right
yeah,
there. So let's flash back to that Titan game a little bit here. Would you have called that quarterback sneak there, or would have you took the points and went into overtime?
gosh, that's a tough one, Buck. All I could say is when they were going for it, I was watching like this because I just had a bad feeling about
Yeah.
it. However, um, and I know you're going to say I'm waffling. They were not stopping the Titans, excuse me, at all that
No,
evening.
they weren't.
Derrick Henry was running all over them. Ryan Tannehill actually had a pretty good game as well. He's looked better over the last couple of weeks. So, I think I probably would have done it. I think I would have tried something a bit more sneaky than a straight ahead sneak, especially, like I said, Simmons coming off that line, he just blasted Dawkins and they had no chance. I think
Right.
a little bit of trickeration, bit of misdirection, maybe some kind of QB option might have been a good play there. Josh Allen is a big, strong guy. He get those inches when he needs them. So a bit of a disappointing play call, disappointing result, but I still think they have a great, potentially a great season ahead of them.
Yeah, so you are saying go for the win. Sue Boss, myself, and Combs all said take the points. So you definitely are not waffling like on that whatsoever. Wyatt would have definitely gave a waffle answer. So just to review our our top 10 so far, you had 10, you had the Raiders, 9, you had the Baltimore Ravens, 8, you had the Buffalo Bills, and at number 7, a very surprising number 7, you do have the Cincinnati Bengals after that beatdown of the Ravens. Why?
Yeah. Well, I just feel like this team is kind of ready for the world, if you will, bringing it back to some old R&B type of vibes there. Joe Burrow has this team really feeling confident. He has a magical connection with Jamar Chase, and he just seems like the quarterback this franchise has never had. Sure, they had some good quarterbacks, Ken Anderson, Boomer Esiason, things like that. Andy Dalton was a solid quarterback for them for the better part of a decade. He got to the playoffs 3 times, but I feel like Burrow has unlocked some new features with this team. They have a very good receiving core led by Jamar Chase. I think it's really interesting. People just killed this team for not taking an offensive lineman with their first pick. They took Chase. A lot of people thought he had bust written all over him. He might be the best receiver in the NFL right now.
Wow.
754 receiving yards through his first 7 games. That's the most in NFL history. So that's really incredible. The defense has looked a lot better. They got Joe Mixon in the backfield there. So I think there's a lot of different components to this team that is clicking at the right time. Also, their head coach, I can't think of his name right now, but they've stuck with him. This is his 3rd season now. And, you know, sometimes that's really good to give it. I think he's only won 7 games over his first couple of years. He's already
Yeah.
almost at that total this year. So I think that continuity has really helped this team, and they're playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Yeah, and then on the flip side of that, though, the Bengals did stick with Marvin Lewis for many, many years at mediocrity at best. So, it was definitely kind of their MO to give their coach a chance to prove himself. So, and
Zach
then
Taylor. Sorry, I just thought of it.
yeah, Zach Taylor. So
Yeah.
I did hear a crazy stat on Sunday Night Sportscast. Zach Taylor played with the punter for the Baltimore in college at Nebraska. So that shows you how long
Oh,
that punter has been in the league and how young Zach Taylor is. So just
yeah.
some food for thought. So you did have the Bengals coming in at number 7. Number 6, you have possibly a team that maybe we've slept on a little bit the first 6 weeks of the season, but the Tennessee Titans do come in at number 6.
Yeah, they've really made gains over the last couple weeks when you think about beating the Bills like we talked a little bit about on that Monday night a couple weeks ago. And then, just smashing the Chiefs 27-3. They really were all over Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the Chiefs offense in this game. Also, Kelsey looked demonstrably frustrated throughout the course of this game. Only 3 points allowed. I think that the defense is really starting to show some force with the pass rush. They've got an excellent cornerback or safety, I should say, Kevin Byard as well. I just think they're playing again with a lot of confidence. They're taking on the personality of their coach Mike Vrabel, just a tough as nails kind of guy. And I like what I've seen out of Ryan Tannehill over the last few weeks. I just think this is about as underrated a quarterback as there is in the NFL, really. If you think about since he took over the reins from Marcus Mariota in 2019, he had one of the better passing seasons by a quarterback in several years that year. He led the league in yards per attempt and quarterback rating. So this is a guy who could throw a good deep ball. He's sneaky athletic, and I just think he fits really well into this team. You're also starting to see them mix up their running game. They have this guy Darrington Evans,
Yeah.
who could give King Henry a break once in a while. So I like what I've seen from this team. Some people might not like me having them as high as I do have them, but I think what they've done over the last couple of weeks has really impressed me.
Well, well, then people can hate on you all you like all you want, but they dominated the Kansas City Chiefs. It's still a very very good Chiefs team. They beat a top 10 team in the Buffalo Bills, and they are performing at a high level right now. They are just not relying on the running game like at all. I mean, heck, Ryan Tannehill threw for like 240 some yards versus the Chiefs, right? I mean, so it definitely wasn't like a one-sided game whatsoever. So just to review the bottom half of the top 10 here, you have the Raiders coming at 10, Ravens at 9, the Buffalo Bills at 8, Cincinnati Bengals at 7, the Tennessee Titans coming at number 6, and coming in at number 5, you do have the future Super Bowl championship of the 2022 season, the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, sir, I said it. The Dallas
Yeah.
Cowboys coming in at number 5.
You know what, Buck? It could happen. Cowboys, like the Buffalo Bills, were idle this week. They were a bit of a lucky, I don't want to call them lucky losers, lucky team that didn't play. A lot of the teams around them lost. I should say the Ravens lost, who I think I had as high as number 3 last week. So they slipped down. Cowboys ended up moving into that top 5 spot. We've seen this from the opening game of the NFL season when they almost took out the Tampa Bay Bucks. Dak Prescott, pinpoint accuracy, a two-headed monster at running back with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, CD Lamb, Amari Cooper, the tight ends, Dalton Schultz, kind of blanking on the other guy, but they've been pretty productive as well. And the thing that I really like about this team is the defense is really showing up. Randy Gregory, Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons. So they've got playmakers at all 3 levels. I think the sky's the limit for this team. I'm right there with you, Buck. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl because they're not super experienced in the playoffs, but that doesn't always matter. Sometimes the team just gets hot. They don't really know enough to be nervous, and they just keep winning games. So I could definitely see that with this team. Also, Mike McCarthy seems a lot more confident in his second season. I know he's the head coach. I don't know how much credit you give to the coach or not,
Right.
but he just seems more confident in his play calling. I know Kellen Moore is really involved in that as well. He's probably going to find himself on an NFL sideline with his own team pretty soon, I think. But I like the swagger I've seen in this team. That's the way the Cowboys are supposed to play, with that swag, America's team, and they're finally back. It's good
Yeah.
to see, even though I'm not a Cowboys guy.
Yeah, I mean, like every time the Cowboys do well, things are good in the NFL because you sell more tickets, you sell more merchandise. The NFL's on TV more because of the Dallas Cowboys name. Now, Mike McCarthy is being successful because of Kellen Moore's calling great offensive plays right here. But on the flip side, they're not throwing the ball 60 plus times in a game and running Zeke for like 10 times. They're like a 60-40 team right now, and that is a
Yeah.
big factor of their success. And if they can keep that moving forward, they will definitely win a lot of games, including beating the Arizona Cardinals, which I think are overrated. But coming in at number 4, you do have the LA Rams. The Rams struggled a little bit against the Lions for the better part of the game, but they are 6-1 on the season with the 3-game winning streak. With they travel to Houston this week. So why do you got them where you have them at number 4?
I just think Rams have had a really solid season. They obviously had the one game that they lost, but they beat the Buccaneers. That was a really weird game against the Detroit Lions this Sunday. Lions had a couple of fake punts. They had an onside kick. They were trying like hell to win this game, Buck. I thought it was going to happen halfway through the third quarter,
Yeah.
honestly. Lions are 0-7, but they play hard. A lot of people have been critical of Dan Campbell, and I get it. He hasn't won a game yet with the Lions, and he had that really weird press conference about eating people's kneecaps and biting their. I forget what he said, but it was really weird.
Yeah.
Former NFL tight end. He actually had a stint as an intern head coach with the Miami Dolphins. Anyways, Detroit Lions will win a game at some point this season, and they haven't given up on him. And you kind of love to see that if you're a fan of this team. They're a team that in the region I'm in, their games are often on Fox in the region I'm in. So I actually will watch quite a few Detroit Lions football games, which is kind of brutal. But they're trying hard for their coach. Jared Goff is just getting hung out to dry out there. It kind of reminds me, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but his first year, I think at Cal, they were like 1-11. They sucked. They ended up getting it together in his next couple years, but I think he's tougher than people give him credit for. He kind of has this blonde beach California surfer dude kind of image, but
Right.
I think he's tougher than people give him credit for. He's not Matt Stafford. Rams won that trade, but Lions will win a game eventually. Book it.
Yeah. They will at least win 2 to 3 games this season.
Okay.
Like we were talking with like Luke G last night on his weekly Tuesday segment here. He is a Detroit Lions guy. And like he's like, well, if they would have done this, this, and this, they could be 5-2 or some of that. And then I'm like, well, if I would have picked 52 instead of 42, like on my lottery ticket, I wouldn't be doing the man hour, right? But no,
Yeah, right.
But I'm
That's
totally
funny.
kidding. But coming in at number 3, we do have the Green Bay Packers, which they do play Thursday night here versus the Arizona Cardinals. First things first, who do you got winning that game on Thursday?
I got the Cardinals. I'm sorry, but
That's fine.
I just think the Packers are a little too shorthanded. But I think it's going to be a really good game. Is this the best Thursday night game like ever?
Hands down. Hands down. Well,
Right?
Well, hang on. On paper, on hindsight, it's the best game ever.
Yeah,
But with that being said, yes, it is better than the Houston Jaguars London game, right, or whatever it was.
Oh my gosh. That just seemed like a big FU to the country of London. Oh, here you go, Jaguars and Falcons, or whatever it was, Dolphins and Falcons. Oh, they got some terrible games across the pond there. Sorry, mates. But yeah, I still think the Packers are they're having a strong season. I just think they're up against it right now with some of the injuries they have on both sides of the ball. The Smith brothers, Zadarius and Preston, are out. J.R. Alexander. I'm more concerned about the injuries on the defensive side, actually. Obviously, Devontae Adams, he very well could be the best receiver in football. I threw out Jamar Chase, but it's probably Devontae Adams. Him being out, he's just got that great chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. I still think they'll have some success moving the football. I think they're going to have a tough time punching it in at some of the key times because who's he going to be throwing it to? Equanimous St. Brown. Oh, he's on. Is he still on the team? I don't even know who their other receivers are.
He's on COVID too. They have
okay.
67-year-old Randall Cobb.
Yeah. Oh, Cobb. Right. Okay.
And then they got some practice squad. Yeah. So I am
Okay.
trying to lay out the excuses for the Green Bay Packers now. They're bringing up some practice squad receivers to fill those spots. So
okay.
So Aaron Rodgers will have an out like Lamar Jackson does. No, I'm totally kidding. But Packers are at 3. And then coming in at number 2, you do have the former Super Bowl champions themselves, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah.
They're not the best team in the NFL.
I mean, you could definitely make that case. They've just been, steamrolling teams lately. Chicago Bears was their most recent victim. It almost seems like the Bears weren't even in that game ever. It was just all about Tom Brady and his, 600 touchdown passes
Right.
and that kid who got the glove and the tears and the football. That was a nice moment.
Yep.
And it showed Tom Brady in kind of a lighter mode. He's also known as this fierce competitor and guy who kind of stomps on guys' throats and stuff like that. I'm not saying he's not that, but it was kind of cool for him to have that moment with the child who survived so much. So that was kind of cool. This team's firing in all cylinders. They're still not 100% healthy. I definitely could have had them in that top spot, but I just think the Cardinals being 7-0, well.
Spoiler alert.
Maybe they're top. Who knows? It'd be kind of crazy if I didn't have them in my top 10. But I'll let you kind of segue into that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to have the undefeated team at the number 1 spot, even though they're the most overrated team in the NFL. No, yeah, they are. The Arizona Cardinals do come in at number 1.
Yeah,
they are 7-0. They are clicking on all cylinders. But J.J. Watt will be out on Thursday. Do you think this will hinder their game at all on Thursday, including the power ranking status for coming up in week 9?
Yeah. Not necessarily, because I've from the games I've seen the Cardinals play, it's JJ is he's wreaking havoc, but it's also Golden. Sorry, Marcus Golden. Sorry,
Yeah,
I was going to say Golden Tate. I'm like, wait a second, he's a receiver. Chandler Jones, and they've got a couple other guys coming off the edge there that are really making some plays for this team. Um, they've also got Buda Baker in the secondary there, and Isaiah Simmons kind of in the middle. So I think they've got some good guys throughout the defense. Um, Obviously, you're a better team when JJ Watt is suiting up. But I think they'll be able to supplement that with some of the other guys they have in that rotation. And I think it's Bill Parcells who said you are what your record says you are.
yep.
And 7-0 is a very impressive start. They have a chance to go 8-0, which used to be the kind of halfway point. We're in this weird 17 game season, which I'm still kind of getting used to.
I hate it.
Yeah, I read this kind of cool article, Sports Illustrated article about saying it was an ode to the 500 season, how they never really get celebrated. We just remember the great teams and the terrible teams.
Right.
But there's been some really kind of fun 500 teams, and now it's not a thing unless you go 8-1, which might never happen. Well, it might happen one day, but
Give it
ties
to
are
the
pretty
Browns
rare.
and they'll figure it out.
Yeah, sure. There's always a few ties here and there. Or not always, but there's a few ties sometimes, and it's always people hate them. So
They seem to be happening more lately.